right about that. I think for me, a couple of positives really stand out. One was we went public. I took the company public on Nasdaq. A couple of things were remarkable about that. One was that we did our Series A funding in January, where at the time we were using Quick-In as our accounting system, not QuickBooks, Quick-In. And 6 months later, we were public reporting Nasdaq company.
Wow.
You know, you can't do that anymore, you know, because they have rules and laws against it. But I tell you because I remember very vividly. You know, you take a road show, you visit, you know, all these cities trying to convince people to buy your stock, and we did a great job, and we raised $400 million, and it was the largest internet IPO for about a week and a half until Webvan came out. Webvan like goes public and then is bankrupt 9 months later. I'm like, how do you do that when you raise?
They ran on Quicken.
Yeah, they hadn't got off of Quicken. Yeah, says Joe. Yeah. Anyway, so I remember, you know, you traveled all these cities. It was me and my CFO, Paul Oyen, and it was grueling. 3.5 weeks. I had 78 meetings in 3.5 weeks, and we would play all these stupid games. Have you ever done this where you're like, okay, give me a word, like any word, cantaloupe. Okay, I'll weave cantaloupe into this talk, right? That was the game, right? Because they just make up these craziest words. Holocaust. See if you can bring Holocaust into the talk. You know, because you do stuff like that, otherwise you go crazy. And it was actually pretty lonely, right? Because I'm out on the road, and there was 200 people back at MP3.com keeping the machines going, and I'm out for a month by myself trying to sell stock in the damn company. Now, fortunately, we were such a visible name, and MP3 was such a phenomenon that, you know, it kind of sold itself in a lot of respects. But I remember, so we go public. And no, we didn't ring the bell. That's New York Stock Exchange. We're on Nasdaq. Nobody ever seen the floor of Nasdaq? But it's boring. It looks kind of like this with like some screens, and that's it. There's like no people. Aren't people yelling? You know, there aren't people yelling or throwing stuff. You know, so we go public, and I was very relieved because you have all this pricing and these meetings, and the bankers are like, nobody wants to buy your stock, and you're saying, yes, they do, because they, of course, want the low price, right? The low price because they're going to give it to all their friends, and they go, oh, my God, it went up on the first day. What a shocker, you know? So you're battling the whole time, and I get done. We go public. I'm leaning over some guy who's, like, making the first trade, you know, turns it on, and you see the stock trading. And then I walk out to the streets of New York by myself, and there you see on the big board MPPP, right? The slide across the giant news ticker, and that was a remarkable high, I think, because you're like, wow, right? You know, you're in this major big city, biggest city in the world, and there's your little company that started in an extra bedroom of my house. You know, and is now a big, meaningful thing. So that was, I think, is one high. One other one that I'll share with you is that we had this phenomenal project called My MP3, and if anyone is familiar with Apple's iMatch, right, where you run their software and it looks at all the songs you have and goes, oh, okay, I recognize those, and presto, they're in the cloud. Well, we did that 10 years ago, but we did it with physical CDs. And it was a technology called Beam It. And that was remarkable because I went to my guys and I said, I got this idea, right? All the music should be in the cloud, but, you know, remember at the time people had really slow modems. You know, if you were really cutting edge, you had 56K modem, but a lot of people had 28, you know, K modems. And I said, so I want to come up with some way to you put the CD in, you analyze it, we recognize it, we'll fingerprint it, and then activate it in the cloud. And so my engineers went off and built this phenomenal system that was so advanced and cutting edge, and they took this, what was this idea, and made it reality. But what was remarkable was not their impressive engineering, but we had a big problem in that we needed to encode literally tens of thousands of CDs. This means, you know, unwrapping them, putting them in the machine, digitizing them, and typing in all of the data. Well, this is for tens of thousands of CDs, so how do we do this, right? And I'm like, no, it's got to be done in 2 months, and so we turned it into this massive company effort. Everyone in the company did it. There was this game that we built where it kept track of who was the leader in typing in data, and it was fantastic. And you'd go to the company, and it would be 11:30 at night, and there would be cellophane wrapper all over the floor, and you know every computer in the damn company is sitting there digitizing CDs. And to see like the whole company galvanize like that for one project is phenomenal. You know, it's just there's this team camaraderie that is so amazing when everyone is working on one task. So those are a couple highs. Now, of course, we did have big lows.